I want to first talk about our mission statement. Up here, you'll see is highlighted. Mission statement is highlighted. There's 5 different components of the mission statement. You can read those on individually, but the ones that's highlighted are the ones that I'm really going to talk about. The first one, it says to save, serve, and promote the cosmetology industry by providing educational and motivational seminars, keeping the product out of supply stores, thus helping the cosmetologists achieve economic success and financial security. Now, I want you all to think about to save, serve, and promote. What exactly does that mission statement mean to you? You can comment in the Q&A section of the box, but it's just to save, serve, and promote an industry that is really changing. We really have to make some changes because it takes a collective effort. I'll go more into detail on how staying true to this statement, mission statement, or this part of the mission statement has allowed us to still create that, have this solid foundation moving forward. Next is also something where we've been tested during COVID. Apply the highest standards of excellence to research and development, packaging, purchasing of raw materials, and customer service. We want to just show how it's important to have a blueprint. And that's exactly what a mission statement is for your business, and making sure when you go into any organization, that's one of the first things that you'll see is their mission statement. And that's pretty much their values on what they hang their hat on. And so it's just interesting to see how we've been tested during COVID, but how this mission statement and holding true to this mission statement has allowed us to continue to move forward. As we continue to talk about the evolution of the industry, I just want to talk about not just from a stylistic perspective, from when we first started out with naturals, of course, to it gravitating towards relaxers, and then moving towards the wave when Michael Jackson made it extremely popular in the 80s, then continued to get the color, and then back to naturals, relaxers, smoothing systems, and so forth. As an manufacturing, as a company, it is our responsibility to make sure that we can accommodate you through that research and development aspect, and accommodate you where you can have an exclusive brand and service your clients accordingly. But the next part is very interesting. Is we talk about the sales consultants. And when I talk about sales consultants, think about how many sales consultants used to come to your establishment pre-COVID. We had, and even 10 years ago, it wasn't uncommon for us to have 2 sales consultants coming to your establishment a day. Am I correct? I want you to comment in the Q&A box and just see how many comes to your establishment today in the day's time, because that's something that has truly changed out here in the marketplace, where you don't have the physical representation of a sales consultant. I know we have some that's on the line that does not have an Influance sales consultant, but they're connected here virtually, which we'll talk about the relevance of that and how we've been able to evolve and be able to connect that way as well. But just be able to comment in the box, and please feel free to ask any questions that you have, as we may not be able to get to all of them, but we'll get to as many of them as we possibly can. And then, of course, the whole customer service. With the sales consultants now, they may take pre-orders, things of that nature, just to make sure that they can be efficient because of the different adjustments of scheduling that the cosmetologists and barbers have. So for whatever reason, whether they have another job, but to be able to accommodate and give the sufficient customer service, sometimes we require and ask that you be prepared and you do your pre-orders, just so that they don't have to, they can be as efficient as possible and see everyone that's necessary. All right. So moving right along, I want us to also think about, well, I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I want us to think about how many exclusive brands now that you actually have access to. Speaking of, the relevance out here, we talk about sales consultants, but think about how many salon exclusive brands that you have access to. And this is just a thought-provoking question where you want to be mindful of some of the decisions that you make, because, when you have a second job, you want to ask yourself the question why, but also be able to plan and prepare the necessary things for you to, if I stay committed to this one job and I do A, B, and C, will I need 2 or 3 jobs to get to make ends meet? And so these are some of the questions that you want to be able to ask yourself, and look on your back bar and see exactly how many brands do you represent and how many salon exclusive brands that you represent. All right. I have up here a very interesting slide up here just to talk about the evolution of the industry, because when you sit here and you talk about Blockbuster, who in their right mind would have thought that they really wouldn't be relevant today? That was just the thing where Blockbuster in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, do you have any idea that they had over 9,000 locations? Okay. Had over 9,000 locations in the early 2000s. And then come 2010, just 10 years later, they have less than 1,700 locations. Now, it's amazing on what Netflix bought about, but then in 2020, how many Blockbusters exist today? It's one. There's one that exists today, and it's in Oregon. And it's just amazing that if you don't do and make the necessary decisions, how you become a monument. You become a thing of the past. And so this is some of the things that we have to think about. If you don't plan and prepare and find a way to evolve, look how Netflix came in from a digital platform perspective and just made Blockbuster irrelevant. And then on the flip side, how Blockbuster did not evolve and make the necessary decisions to compete with Netflix. They just decided that they're going to be a thing of the past. And so being in business is a decision, being able to grow and just knowing that if you're maintaining your business, then eventually you're going to start rescinding. You'll start going backwards. Your ultimate goal in business is to be able to sit down, plan and prepare, and to make sure that you can be moving forward constantly, because it's very difficult when you are being stagnant. Stagnant is not motivating. It's something that you want to be able to focus on the whys. And so just think about how we used to use a appointment book. We used to use appointment books, but now we do what? Online booking. We do online booking. And so when we do this, you can think about today. We normally have in-person class. I know we're fortunate enough to have a hybrid class here today where we have people right before us, but we've had to make the necessary adjustments, because by doing it virtually, you're able to reach so many people. But we'll talk about the impact. We realize that you still want some in-person classes, but you all have to understand how the industry has evolved, and in-person classes, I'm not going to say it's a thing of the past, but it's going to be so far and few between that we have to adjust ourselves mentally to be able to make the necessary adjustments, put ourselves in a different mind space where we can understand the whys and just jump on board and really grow, because you're going to figure out and find different ways that you're going to have to navigate through your journey and make necessary adjustments, and also find out how to make your clients make those adjustments. They are more likely to make adjustments when you understand certain things and you're able to make adjustments along the way. So we get it. We definitely get it. I want an in-person class, but I will also show and talk about how we have to preserve our sales consultants in order to continue to accommodate you all. And in doing so, it requires us to have a great deal of understanding, and that's going to come from communication, which is why I wanted to be able to express and let you all know exactly what the industry is doing and how we are determined not to become a Blockbuster, but how we want to pretty much educate you all so that we can be the Netflix and continue to evolve and bring us along and win together. So it's just an interesting thing. Let's talk about the newspaper. The newspaper. Let's talk about how thin that newspaper is today. Let's talk about how thin the newspaper is today. Why is it so thin? It's thin simply because of the fact that it's now on your phone. You have access to it right there in your hand, which is where you're probably watching the class from. I know several of you are gathered together in groups, but you're watching it right there digitally in hand. But just think about where the newspaper is today. And who would have thought that it would be a thing of the past? And so a lot of times, when we send you something digitally, you want a physical copy. We understand that. But we also have to participate when your printing company, the one that that's been doing our print work since 2007. We got in business in 2006, been using the same printing company since 2007. When they call you and inform you that they no longer have their printing division, then it's time you must wake up and find out why. And so now we make sure that we give you things from a digital perspective, even when it comes to our brochure. We have a new brochure out that you'll be receiving digitally, where you have to look at it on your phone and make the necessary adjustments, not have it there physically before you, but just knowing what you will have access to and make those adjustments. But why would we participate in something that is not as relevant as yesterday? Am I making sense? All right. So those are some of the things that we have to really ask ourselves while operating our business and giving it some thought. And I would challenge you all that if you come in on your day off, should not be your day off. Your day off, you take time for planning and preparing. When you take time to plan and prepare your business, you'll find out that you will make 20% more on the average basis based upon what's on your book, just simply because you took time to analyze and evaluate each and every last one of your customers and have a plan for them, whether it's retailing, whether it's adding an additional service from protein treatment, but just building a ticket to the point where you're rendering a service where a $80 service could simply be a $130 service because of the planning and preparation that you've done for that particular client and throughout the week. You'll be surprised on what it would do, because that's some of the things that we have to do on a continuous basis to make sure that you all have the necessary things as well. All right. Moving right along. We want to talk about, y'all probably not familiar and having experienced the inflation with that. I'm pretty sure y'all probably have been exempt from inflation, but from COVID, that's been something that we've had to navigate through and figure out some decisions that we have to make. Now, we're going to talk about raw materials. We're going to talk about Dollar Tree. But when you go to Dollar Tree now, Dollar Tree should need to rename their store, correct? To what? $1.25 and up. Okay. But people may not complain about the $1.25, but tell me, what percent increase is $1.25 from $1? 25%. Care how you slice it. It's $1.25, but it's 25% increase. Now, I've always done case studies, and I do them in my business classes that I teach constantly. But this is something that you have to really look at and figure out, how do I make this adjustment? Why is it? And how do I analyze my business accordingly? And it's also time for you to really look at your pricing and your scheduling. Because when it came to raw materials, which is what we use in our products, when it came to the point, we were hit with inflation. And so just like every industry, such as Dollar Tree, we were hit with it. Then you come to the crossroads where all raw materials went up and they become different grades. Just like when you go to the gas pump, you have 87, 89, and 93. You can pick and choose which raw material you want to use. And every raw material going up, you can use a lesser grade and keep the cost down. And then you run the risk of being in this industry for 33 years. And I've been presented with the question, Rudy, did something change with this product? And no, nothing's changed. And I could feel the energy from that response. And when I come back the next week, I see that product sitting on the far left. And the client is now using a substitute product in its place. And they're no longer ordering that product. And so when it smells different, when it feels different, when it looks different, you all will put it down. True or false? Very true. So when I sit back and I look at this right here, apply the highest standards of excellence to research and development, purchasing, packaging, and raw materials, packaging raw materials and customer service. We could not wait because only thing I could hear and I could see back is the playback of my clients putting things to the side because of one thing. We decided not to go up as much. We decided to go up 5% or 10% and use a lesser grade of raw material and run the risk of you using a product and not getting the results that you need. And when you use that product, you are actually using it on a client's head. And unfortunately, you're finding out while you're doing that client that product did not give you the performance that you're looking for. So when it came to it, we did test out certain raw materials that was a cousin of the raw material that we were using. And during the testing phase, the results were not the same. And so to even entertain that was something that we really didn't give it a second thought to. Let's keep these raw materials the same. Let's keep the same premium ingredients in there, and let's make the necessary adjustments, just like Dollar Tree, on our own scale. And that's some of the things that we all have to do in our salons on our planning and preparation day, is to look at our price scale, look at it during 2020, pre-COVID, and look at it where it is now in 2024. Are you hitting that 25% increase where you can be sufficient, or did you decide not to do that and get a second job in its place, as opposed to doing that planning and preparation? Am I making sense to you? All right. If any questions or any comments, just feel free to let me know. Okay. But moving forward, we have the grocery store. All right. And I just put on here, but isn't it amazing that Dollar Tree went up 25%, but what was the average price the grocery store went up? 24.7. It's so ironic that it's going up 24.7, but of course you have certain things like eggs and flour that's above that 25% rate. I believe eggs is 50%, and some say it's doubled and is 100% in certain areas. But you see right there on the chart where it's right there at the 25% mark. Okay. So this is some of the things that you want to be able to do. If you were charging $60 for a relaxer or $70, whatever the case it was pre-COVID, then you have to look and see, but it has to warrant it by the brand that you are utilizing. Can your client get it across the counter? Is it something that's truly exclusive? Because when you go into now the grocery store or the beauty supply store, the brands are everywhere. And so having access to an exclusive brand is becoming less and less common, that you have to be committed to learn an exclusive brand inside and out. And our commitment is because of the lack of options that you have, is to be able to provide you through our research and development with a variety of different items, from our smoothing system to our curl system to the relaxers to the color. And it's really because of the demand that the industry has placed on us because of your inability to have access to exclusive brands, and it's making you have to get alternative ways of bringing in additional income. All right. And so, moving along with that just brings pretty much attention to how we have to sit down and look at our pricing and make the necessary adjustments, but also running a professional establishment in the meantime. All right. Next, we have the honey almond foam. I have this up here simply because it's in two different packages. Okay. The only guarantee I can have is what is on the outside may change as far as the packaging. If standard goes, it's in an amber bottle. What's on the outside may change. What's in the inside will not. That's just not an option. We're aware that, the last thing you want to do is put on that honey almond foam on your client and know that it is not the same as the honey almond foam that you're using before. And unfortunately, if it doesn't work, that means you have to do what? Your client's hair over, correct? It's not going to give you the result that you're looking for. And so that's something that we just want to be able to see you all to be aware of. You all, that has been around, but it also will be other products that you will see in temporary packaging, because the supply chain is still difficult to get everything in a timely manner. But the most important thing is that you get what you need, and that we can try and keep as much consistency as far as the package is concerned as much as possible. But the supply chain from COVID has been extremely challenging, especially now. Black packaging now has become a custom packaging, as before companies and manufacturers had to make decisions. So black packaging now is a custom package, which means it takes longer for you to be able to get that package as well as other things. And so that's something that you want to be mindful of. Next, ladies and gentlemen, when we sit here and we talk about retailing, just want to show during COVID is where retailing was at an all-time high. But it's amazing on how we may have gotten away from the retailing aspect of it. One of the things that I'm going to challenge you all to do, one, is how important it is for you to be able to follow us on IG. And so that's our IG label at Influance Hair Care One. And then not only should you be following us, but you should also expose the IG to your client. But you should do this based upon the fact that you are retailing, okay? Because when the way the marketing, the way we do and advertise for the different brands, the different products that we have up there, your client is going to simply go back to you because it's consistent with what you're doing, but they're educating you on the platform. They're going to go back to you and they're going to purchase that product from you. But it's going to give them the reasons as to why you're utilizing this particular brand and why they should be and why they are on board with what you are doing. But retailing should account for 20% of your total revenue. If you're sitting there doing the numbers, but think about if you're not retailing, then you are losing 20% of your revenue, which will make you have to look for another occupation to bring in other sources of income. And so this is one of the reasons why companies go over the counter is because of the fact that the industry doesn't understand exclusive products and take advantage of it. Yes, sir. We have a question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Artist. Question is, how do you decide on how much to increase services such as relaxers?
Well, one of the things you want to be able to do is, if a relaxer, let's say a relaxer goes up 25% and it's 40, and let's say it was $34 at one point in time, and it's now $42. Okay. What you have to sit there and do, you have to break it down and say, okay, that's $8, but you're going to get 8 services, minimum out of this relaxer. So you simply can say, okay, if I go up $1, I'm breaking even, correct? I'm breaking even. So this is where you have, based upon how you run your establishment, you can simply go up and base it off of and double that. You can go up $5 on that particular service, but it has the warranty by how you come to dress. When you go up 25%, you want to make sure that you're punctual, that you have your dress code intact, that you're retailing, that you're using an exclusive brand. Your price increase, how you come to work and your representation of your business, it has to justify your price increase. Your knowledge, being on the line, getting this information, knowing the do's and don'ts, that's going to be extremely critical to justify your price increase. But most importantly, you have to know when we go up with a particular product, how many services am I actually getting out of this product? Okay. And then sit there and say, if a shampoo goes up $2, it's really going up 20 cents a customer. Okay. That's where you have to sit there and do the numbers and understanding that business is all about numbers. And so, that's where the planning and preparation comes into play. That's where you have to really understand, the do's and don'ts. For those that may have fallen off from retailing, we have the holiday favors that we'll have. We're doing pre-orders this year. You see listed above, of course, we have the rosemary mint hand sanitizer along with the coconut milk sanitizer. We have that where you buy in group lots of 50, and then you have the 4 different body butters along with the organic complex growth cream and natural oil. You can order those during the dates of October 1 through October 22nd. Your sales consultant will send you a form for you to fill out digitally and send it back to them. But this is, but we want, and these products, once the pre-orders are in, through October 21, through October 1st to 22nd, you're guaranteed to get your order, right at, Thanksgiving. You'll get all your orders in at Thanksgiving. So we want you guys to be mindful of that. All right. We'll take, 1 or 2 more questions and we'll transition over to the seminar presentation. Yes, sir.
All right. So next question is, the audience wants to know, how would they be able to receive and access the new brochure?
Thank you. But your sales consultants will, are getting access to it. They should have got access to it last week. We have a conference call with the sales consultants, tomorrow morning at 9:00, and they will be able to let us know if they did not receive it, then they will be able to forward it over to you all. If you don't have the luxury of having a sales consultant, then you can call in to customer service and we'll make sure you get that, digital brochure as well. Thank you. Thank you for that question. All right. This will conclude, my part. I want to, thank you guys for your time. We will be connecting more on a regular basis. And, sometimes I'll do a class just where we can just have that consistent dialogue, and get the feedback. So making sure we are working together. One last question and we'll transition over. Yes, sir.
All right. Last question, Mr. Artist. Audience wants to know, will the new products be available in gallon sizes?
That's an excellent question. Will the new products be available in gallon sizes? The answer is no. One of the things that, and let me share with you all, this was intense research and development that went into play with these new shampoos and conditioners. And a lot of times when we sit there and compare, anything, we made a superior product, but anything that's comparable to it, they only come in 8 ounces. Okay? They only come in 8 ounces. Now, we did not want to make that decision and come out with a shampoo and it be an 8 ounce. Can I get an amen on that? Mm-hmm. Okay? So what I did make the decision of doing is saying, okay, we're going to give a 32 ounce in the shampoo. We're also going to put additional DHT blockers and other things with Dr. Brace is going to go through shortly. But what I can say, you can't make it a gallon because 432s make what? A gallon. And so with inflation coming into play, it's very difficult to get that economy size like we used to back in the day and for a discounted price. It is extremely difficult. That's why it's so important for you guys to be able to take advantage of what? Retailing. Okay, you take advantage of retailing because you get to double everything, and if they try and get it from us, they're going to have to pay double as well. We do not compete with you. And so there's a tremendous advantage. But to answer your question in short, no, it will not be coming in gallon. All right. Thank you so much for your time. I just want you all to continue to stay connected, continue to stay motivated. I congratulate you all for making this transition, being on this class virtually, making sure that you make the necessary adjustments and continue to grow your business. At this particular time, this is the part of the Trichology section class that you all are privy to. We want to make sure you feel free to ask any questions that you have throughout this process. It's just awesome to be able to see a young lady who has evolved right along with us, has been with us from day one. And let's not waste any time bringing her up. Let's give it up from Chesapeake, Virginia, Dr. Karen Brace. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am so glad to see y'all here. Y'all just don't know, it's hard to do a seminar without an audience. So I'm glad y'all my seat filling, but I'm also glad you're here for the education. Okay. So I like audience participation, definitely. Please ask me some questions, because if I don't know, I will find out. We're going to do our best to, try to find out these things. I do have some notes because we have some products out of this world, and it had so many DHT blockers and helpers in it for Trichology. So I wrote some notes down. So y'all excuse me if I read off my notes, because I want to get it correct. Okay. Is that okay? All right. So if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A, not in the chat, because it is disabled. Okay. All right. So let's get it on. All right. So this is me, Karen Brace. I've been a cosmetologist since 93, an instructor since 2008, pharmacy tech at Norfolk State University, because I wanted to know the effects of medication on hair. I did not want to be a pharmacy technician. I just wanted to know the effects of it. I actually took the pharmacy tech class twice. Phlebotomy from Norfolk State University so that I could do the PRP therapy. That's the platelet-rich plasma. When I worked at Virginia Dermatology, we're going to draw blood, inject it, spin it in a centrifugal, take the platelets off and inject it into the scalp, which was good for a certain type of hair loss, alopecia, certain types, not all types. It's not new. Actually, PRP was used in sports medicine quite a bit. That's how they got the athletes back on the field quickly. They already been hurt and they're back on the field. Okay, a board certified trichologist through NTTI in 2013, board certified nutritional consultant, Trinity School of Natural Health in 2019, and a board certified doctor of naturopathic medicine from Trinity School of Natural Health in 2021. My governing boards are the AMCA and the ANWPB. Now, it doesn't matter what trichology school you go to. I get this so often. I went to beauty school. You went to beauty school. If you didn't go to the same beauty school I did, but we have the same credentials, right? It's all in what you make it afterwards. Okay. So please, whatever education you get is how you continue your education after. Everything gives you that basic, and then you have to go forward with more information. Okay, so why Influence? Many textures, one solution. We got one product that'll cover everything that walks into your salon, every type of hair that walks into your salon. This keeps your bottom dollar from being so high. You know, just using one product. I have down to one product and I'm happy. The biggest thing is, look how that product, we see that red bottle. We know what that is, right? But when they peeled it off, look what was under it, because that was in the retail store. And retail products, we know, do not have the high quality ingredients that salon quality does. That's why you see commercials that say salon quality. They're trying to reassure you that it does, which is, we know that's marketing gimmick, right? Okay, so this is one of the things. The other one is we will not find our products in the beauty supply. If it is, please call the number on the bottle and report it. And let's see another video of Mr. Artist going to get it out. That was a good video, wasn't it? I loved it. Okay, so we're going to go through our analyzation and consultation. We want to do that with each client because then you'll know what product to actually use on them. And remember, this is an Influence seminar. We're not going so much on the internal. Okay, that's really for a Trichology course. Okay, we're using Influence products for hair loss. So we always want to go through the depth, and the depth acronym stands for density, elasticity, porosity, texture, and the history. Let's look at the D. Density, how thick or thin the hair is collectively. That's what density is. So you can say a person has thick hair when they have a density of 180%, going percentage-wise. If you say they have thick hair and they still have a coarse texture hair, then that's thick hair. But if they have a 50% density and a coarse texture, that hair is thin. The density is thin. You get it? It's still thin. And you would change your relaxers according to. The elasticity. The hair's elasticity is the measure of how much the hair will stretch and return without breaking. And healthy hair, when it's wet, will stretch up to about 50%. If you're having a problem with elasticity, we have a product for that. And it is in our old paper brochures, if you are. It'll be on the new brochures also. So our rosemary shampoo actually helps with elasticity. Okay. So it also brings down the pH of the hair, and that helps with the elasticity of the hair. The porosity, that's the ability to absorb and retain the moisture in the hair. Okay. So we know that you can take a piece of hair, drop it in water, and see how long it takes to sink. If it stays on top quite a bit, it's low porosity. If it sinks to the middle, it's good normal porosity. If it sinks quickly, it's got high porosity. High porosity hair will not hold color. It won't hold moisture. And you have to try to correct the porosity of the hair. Okay. Our Proplex Reconstructor does that. It's going to restore and retain, help you to rebuild that hair from the inside out. It's a high impact amino acid protein. Okay. So that's going to help with that. And as you see the cuticle layers of this hair, normal closed cuticle, that's a nice, healthy, virgin hair. When you put a chemical on, porous, open cuticles, it starts opening up the cuticles of the hair. When it's over processed, that's what the extra porous looks like. So when people come in, you put color on and their color doesn't last as long as the other person's color, that's what that is. Okay. So they're going to need a Proplex Reconstructor. The texture, we're looking at fine, medium, and coarse. That's the texture of the hair. That determines the shampoo you use and the relaxer that you use, right? Any questions on that? We good? All right. So now the history is the last H of the depth. The history, we want to know what you did, when you did it, how you did it. We want to know everything. What medications are you taking? When was your last color, including semi? And some people say, I haven't had color in a long time, and you go and check it and they just had color 3 months ago, but they count that as a long time. Okay. So we want to make sure that we ask them, when was the last one? We had a question.
Yes, Karen. First question is, can damaged hair follicles be healed or repaired?
Can the damaged hair follicle be healed or repaired? So the Proplex Reconstructor will help with the repairing of the hair follicle. That's the biggest thing right there. And you have to know how to put that Proplex Reconstructor on correctly. Okay. We're going to get to that, how to apply.
All right. Next question. Please explain the float test. Person is saying that they're struggling with that.
How to explain the float test for the porosity. So if you drop the hair in a glass of water, if it floats for a good amount of time, it's low porosity. That means it doesn't absorb moisture good. If it sinks to the middle and it stays there a good amount of time, it's correct. That's how it should be. But if it sinks to the bottom quickly, it's overly porous and it's going to grab a lot. So your color and everything needs to be adjusted. You really need to just do a Proplex Reconstructor on that. Okay, I hope that helped. Yes, ma'am.
So I know the answers to this question, but many others may not. When we talk about are you on medication during the consultation, if the person says yes, what would you recommend for the stylist to respond to them with that answer?
So if a person says yes, they're on medication, what would my response be? It would depend on what medication and what service they're getting. So we need to know what service are they getting. If they're asking for a chemical service and their hair is not in good condition because of the medication, you're going to not do it. That means that you're doing it wrong. That's one of the things are wrong with the chemical. So I have refused chemicals because of that. If a person's hair is not in good condition. So we want to go ahead and build that hair up. We want to talk to them about their medication. If there's an ongoing medication, they shouldn't get the chemical. Did that answer your question? You already know, but I know. Okay, we also want to know how often do they flat iron and what type of flat iron do they use? That's very important because some of them have those ion flat irons. They shouldn't have that at home. And they will burn their hair. So that's part of the history. We want to know how often do you do it? How often do they use the protein? You can't put the chemical right on top of the protein. So we want to know when was your last protein and what kind of protein did they use? Okay. What kind of straightening system did they use? A keratin straightening system, because so many keratin straightening systems has chemicals in it. Ours does not, but which is a great alternative for relaxers for alopecia. Okay, let's move on because I got excited about that. Okay, so you want to know if they're using a keratin straightening system, regardless of what they say. There's no chemical in there. There are straightening agents in there that will straighten the hair out, and you'll see the difference in when it grows out. There's going to be straight hair, and then you got new growth hair. Okay. All right. Is the scalp oily or dry? We want to know which shampoo we're going to pick for that. We have so many things that we need to know about that person before we start to make sure that it's a great service. Okay, so let's look at the definition of trichology. It is the scientific study of hair loss and scalp disorders from a medical stand. Why medical stand? Because trichology really is from the internal, which trichologists get in the internal, and stylists do it on the external. So we are a great combination. So I've had so many stylists that send people to me, and I tell the stylist what to do externally, and I tell the client what to do internally. Okay. And then the combination together is going to get us some hair growth. So how hair grows, this never changes. It'll always be there, right? Okay. So let me get a question before I get into that one. Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Karen. First question is, how often should you use the Proplex Reconstructor?
How often?
And can it be used on locks?
Okay. Oh, that's a great question. How often do you use Proplex Reconstructor and can it be used on locks? Yes, it can be used on locks, and you can use the Proplex Reconstructor on a regular basis every 6 to 8 weeks. Now, I have had different times where I've used it more because I had to make that call if a person has really bad breakage. And I've made a call to use that more often, which worked perfectly. But you have to, during your salon, you have to adjust things as needed. And I took that chance and adjusted, and it was perfect. If I know what that Proplex is going to do, and I say, okay, this person needs this, but if I put it in this much time, you have to sit there and analyze it just like that. So once you do and you come out with the correct answer, you have no problem. But on a regular basis, 6 to 8 weeks is great. Okay.
All right. And one more question, Ms. Karen. Do you recommend clarifying the hair prior to the porosity test?
You can clarify it. It will help some if you want to actually shampoo, clarify it, and then drop it in there. I would actually do both just to see, because that'll tell you what's on the hair, basically. If you use coconut oil straight, which we know a lot of people think they can mix their oils, Jesus, Lord have mercy. Okay, so y'all feel me, right? So when they put the coconut oil up there, it is a blocker. Coconut oil is a sealant, so it will seal it. So yes, that would be a good idea to shampoo it first. I do like that idea. Yeah. And we won't even talk about that warrior black castor. Okay, anyway, let's go on. Because that's some tough stuff to get out of hair, okay? Okay, so how hair grows. Hair is made up of a tough protein called keratin. We know that, right? Okay, so let's go down to the next red section. Blood vessels nourish the cells in the hair bulb and deliver hormones that modify hair growth and structure at different times of life. So we know that what is growing that hair is your blood. That's the biggest thing growing the hair is blood, right? So what we're doing is nourishing the blood internally and externally, especially for the stimulation part. The more blood flow, the better the growth. The stronger the blood flow, the better the growth. You'll notice that people who have anemia have a more of a dry, brittle hair, right? And it breaks easy. That's because this. Everybody gets that? That's just really what it is. So we'll go into how we can help that even more. Look at paragraph number 2. The hair shaft is made up of dead cells that have turned into keratin and bind the material together with small amounts of water. So we just said that blood grows hair. Being that blood is a liquid, the most abundant liquid on earth is what? Water. So there you have that the hair shaft made up of dead cells is binding material together with small amounts of water. So this is water from still internal, not the external, not what we put on the sink, internal. So it's actually saying that one strand of hair is glued together with water. When a person does not get enough water internally, and we're going to get to that, you're going to start seeing breakage. That's why we say, your hair is so dry, it's breaking up. Now we know why we say it, right? We can tell them, you're not getting enough water. And it needs to be some good water, not some acidic water, but we're going to get into that. Yes, sir. We have a question.
Yes, Karen, we actually have 3 questions. Does the porosity change on different areas of the head, crown, nape, and edges?
Does the porosity change on different areas? It is possible because the top area is not a permanent gene. So it can definitely change there. And the porosity can be lower. It can be higher in different areas. So definitely. And that's your circulation area too, on the top of the head. That's actually in Chinese traditional medicine, the top of your head is the circulation part. So we lack a lot of circulation. They always talk about how African Americans don't brush their hair enough to get stimulation and circulation going. So get a nice boar's hair brush and get the stimulation part. It can change. That's a great question.
Awesome. Next question. Is there another way to check porosity other than placing it in a cup of water?
Another way to check porosity, I don't have another way, because the porosity is the fact of absorbing. So a lot of people say this product didn't work in my hair. It's their porosity, but then sometimes what they bought didn't work in their hair because they bought a retail product. So yeah, the water would be a true porosity test.
All right. And last question. Who is a great candidate for keratin? What textures of hair?
Who is a great candidate for keratin? All textures of hair is great for keratin. That's natural. You don't need it if it's relaxed. Anyone who wants a relaxer but cannot receive one in the trichology world, anyone can get it, that's natural. But in the trichology world, a person who wants a relaxer but shouldn't get one because their hair is not healthy at the time, keratin is the best one. Our keratin, because it doesn't have the chemical. Okay. All right. So we're looking at the structure of the hair. We have the medulla, the cortex, and the cuticle layer. How many people in here have been in my class before? So y'all already know the answer. Okay, I'm going to ask anyway, see who really was listening. Okay. So we know that the medulla is the deepest layer of the hair, and it's only seen in large, thicker hair. It's not even seen in the thinner, finer hair. So everyone doesn't have a medulla. We don't know what it's there for. Okay. The cortex is the middle layer of the hair. It provides the strength and color and the texture. The cuticle is the protector of the cortex layer. It's colorless and it's thinner. Okay. Where does the relaxer penetrate to, knowing that right there? Cortex. Exactly. The cortex. He was listening. I was like, okay, so the cortex, the relaxer penetrates to the cortex because that's the texture. We change the texture when we put a relaxer on, right? So I say this because I had someone come in and I want y'all to own your salon, right? It's your salon. Own your seat. That's yours. Don't come in there trying to tell me my job. I get so pet peeved with that. Okay, so I had someone come in that told me she knows how to do a relaxer when she was a school teacher. And I said, why you say that? She said, because I put my own in. And I said, oh, well, that's why you straight in the front and it's afro in the back. She put her own in. Everybody do this, right? And they get the front straight. The back was still puffed. So I said, well, since you put a relaxer in, which layer does it penetrate? And this is, beauty school 101. And she didn't know. And I said, okay, so you don't know about relaxers. And I left. And then I said, I know how to teach. I know something about teaching. And she said, why you said that? I said, because I'm a licensed instructor. Now, let's move on. So the hair growth cycle, we're looking at the anagen, catagen, telogen stage, and then we turn back to the anagen stage, right? So the anagen is 3 to 6 years. We know that's give or take. I've seen so many different numbers for this. And it's absolutely correct because you can get some people whose hair can grow here. Some people hair grow down to here. So everyone's different, right? That's when it's the growth stage. The catagen is getting ready to just disconnect. As you can see how it's starting to look very fraught. It's getting ready to disconnect. And then the telogen is disconnected and a new dermal papilla is starting right up under there, right? So the black hair, when you have a hair out of the head and the tip of it is a black bulb, that's the anagen stage. Is it supposed to come out in the anagen stage? No. It's supposed to come out in the telogen stage. That's the exit stage, right? So it's a white bulb, that's the telogen stage. So when people come in, they say their hair is coming out. When you comb it, I want you to look at the tip and see. Now, if both ends are straight, that means it's breaking off. They need a Proplex, something they're doing at home. And I mean, they can do anything, a smallest thing. I had a client that said her hair was coming out, but when I combed it, it wasn't coming out. So I had to go through and see what was she doing, and she was using a wig brush. And I said, oh, I thought this was your hair. And she said, it is my hair. Well, why are you using a wig brush on your hair? See, so when she stopped, her hair stopped breaking. It was something that simple. Okay. We had a question.
Yes, Ms. Karen, I have 3 questions. First question is, does massaging or tapping the scalp daily make a good substitute for brushing, especially if people hair is falling out with the bristles?
Massaging is not a replacement for the brushing. And if it's coming out from the bristles, you're using the wrong brush. So massaging is going to stimulate, brushing stimulates, but brushing also moves the sebum on the scalp. It moves the sebum. So it's going to keep it from building up, sitting in one place. Okay. So and if you use a boar's hair brush, 100% boar's hair brush has been known not to split ends, not to take the hair out, not mix boar and plastic, 100% boar's hair brush. Okay. And they come in soft, medium, and hard. Okay.
Is it true that smoothing treatments can help strengthen and repair and correct the porosity of the hair?
Smoothing treatment, ours can, because our smoothing treatment is keratin, and keratin is an amino acid that builds the hair. So yes, it does. Actually strengthens the hair.
And last question, can you convert from relaxer to keratin, and how long between relaxer service?
Can you convert from the relaxer to keratin? How long between them?
Between the services.
Between the services. Okay, this goes to a person who's comfortable actually doing the process on new growth. Okay, how much new growth do you have? You can convert that. Just put it on the new growth. Some people like to wait 6 months, 6 weeks. It depends on how comfortable are you without pulling it over. Our post-Kim is going to help with that. Pre-Kim is going to help with that. Pre-Kim covering up the relaxer, we can help with that. Okay. That was 3. Okay. Okay. So hair growth fact. On a healthy hair, we got 80 to 90% of the hair follicles are in the anagen stage. Somebody asked me, do we go through all these stages at once? No, because if we did go through the telogen stage at once, we would always walking around with a bald head at one time or another saying, oh, she's in her telogen stage. We would know each other's business. It's just like that. So no, it's not. So 2% is in the catagen stage, okay, at a time. 10 to 18% is in the telogen phase. So only a little bit at a time should become, you're only supposed to lose 80 to 100 strands a day. Some say 50 to 100 strands a day. Anything over your normal hair loss, we know something's going on. I'm losing more hair than I usually, then something's going on. Okay. The average period of growth for scalp hair is approximately 1,000 days. So, and the average scalp has between 100,000 to 150,000 follicles. So if I say I can take this product and make your hair thicker, is that true? You got all the follicles you have when you were born. So how can it make it thicker? So then if I say this product grew my hair, we've seen it on Instagram like this in 2 weeks. Is that true? Man, what a marketing gimmick. I mean, I've known people to actually buy that stuff. And I'm like, if that was true, these people would be rich and I would invest. Okay. So, hair on men grow faster than women. Cool joke, but it is. And hair grows faster at night and during the summer. Nighttime, because the body's healing hours is between 10 and 2. They actually did a study and said people who work overnight lose 10 years off their life. That's the healing hours, 10 to 2. Summertime is because the sun is closer. Okay. And your hair and nails grow better. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, your whole body regenerates at night when you're resting. She asked if the hair grow faster at night. The whole body, yes, your healing hours for your body. So you're actually turning over new cells. Okay, so let's look at yes, ma'am. We had one more question.
Okay, so when we were going over the phases, growth. Thank you. When we were going over the phases of the growth and hair loss, you said that when they're kind of having some shedding going on, is it better to see the black bulb? Or I just want to clarify my notes.
Gotcha. Okay, she wants to know which bulb you're supposed to see on a regular shedding head, right? The white bulb. White bulb comes out. That's the regular. If it's black, it's not correct because that's the anagen. That's the growth stage. It's supposed to be still growing. Question or friend? Yeah. Yes, sir.
I'm trying to figure out how to word it. So in relation to that white bulb, we also know that when they are going through or experiencing the telefluvium alopecia, like maybe after a traumatic experience or after childbirth, things of that nature, then those white pieces are going to be way, way, way more abundant.
Right.
How would you be able to, or how would you want a stylist? I know, but how would you want a stylist to be able to explain that to a client who knows nothing about what that is or why it's happening?
Okay, so your question is how to explain someone that they're coming out with the white bulb after a traumatic experience. Mm-hmm. Their cortisol level is higher, and we're going to go right to that, stress and trauma. So that's coming up. That was a good question. So you all know how to explain it to them. So that's good because you should hear the stories I get when you all send clients in, and I have to defend us. Okay. Yes, ma'am. You had a question?
Yeah. So I was going to say, or question. So in terms of like price, not actually thinking hair, since I do agree that, like, sometimes I'll have clients who want thicker hair, but I can tell that their density is just fine. Like that's how it's going to look. Like it's not going to look like some of the other girls that they may see when they want like fuller looks. But sometimes when you have clients who their hair and it feels different. So it's more so that the cuticle was just repaired when it feels thicker, when it, like, say if they come in and their hair feels broken or thin
and then you start to work with them over the months and it feels thicker. So it's not getting thicker. It's just repaired.
Right. Correct. Okay. So her question was, when you start off with someone and their hair is thin and frail, and then when you start working with them, it feels full, right? Is it repaired? Yes, it's getting to repair. And I actually have a picture of someone like that. Yes. Okay. Okay, so let me move on because we got some slides to go through. Okay, so medical terminology. Anytime you're sending your clients to the dermatologist or wherever, you don't have to tell them with me because I already know. But if you're sending them, make sure that they say, I have alopecia and I'm coming in to see what's going on, right? Because if you say you have hair loss, your hair's coming out. When they go in, they're going to say they have hair loss. The doctor's going to say, well, you have alopecia. And most people will say, okay, and walk out. But you told the doctor that before you walked in there, you just used a different terminology. Okay. So they have medical terminology. Hypertension is high blood pressure. Hyperhidrosis, excessive sweating. Hyperlipidemia, that's cholesterol. And what's tritoptylosis? What was it? Come on. I know y'all know. I know y'all been in my class. Tritoptylosis. That's one of our things. She is Googling it. Joya is Googling it. Tritoptylosis. Did you get it? No? Okay. I'm going to give you a minute. So alopecia is the medical term for hair loss. So make sure you say alopecia. It's the medical term for hair loss. I don't care what kind of hair loss. That's the medical term, alopecia. Okay? Let me know when you got it, Joya.
That's how many condition that occurred.
Split ends. It's split ends. Isn't that a big name for split ends? So you all can say that to your clients and they think, oh my God. Okay. Okay, so let's look at some of the reasons for hair loss. We got poor diet, nutrition, heredity, hormonal stress, trauma. There we go with the hormonal stress, trauma. Medical health and medication, product builder, mechanical. Product builder, mechanical is out here. That's out here. Not us in here, right? Because we in here, we know better. Okay. When I get people in for a consultation for hair loss, they get either 3 out of 4 or 4 out of 4. Okay. Doing it all. Okay. So poor diet, lack of nutrition. Whenever you're eating processing food, fast food, refined foods, inflammatory foods, pesticide grown, you're going to have lack of nutrition because none of those foods have nutrition in it. Okay. Now, don't you wonder why when people, I'm not trying to go internal, but I want y'all to get an idea of this. When people get older or sometimes, they get sicker, they get cancer when they get older. My mom said, well, I get this age and get cancer. When you keep doing the same things over, your body can actually do these things 10 to 20 years before it actually comes to a full-blown problem. Your body is so strong, but when you keep eating the same things over, that's what happens. You're going to lack nutrition because there's no nutrients in that. Okay? Water. Here we go with the water. Water composes 75% of your brain. What do we say grow hair? Blood. And we said water help make up the blood, right? It makes up 83% of your blood. 83%. That's a lot. So when a person is not getting in the water, the main factor, that's the main factor. Nutrition is going to come, but the water actually takes the nutrients into your cells. So you got to get the water in order to get all the nutrients from the food. So water is important. So when you don't get in that water, you're not building up that blood. That's the first component. Blood is made of hydrogen, oxygen, and nutrients. Those are one of the 3 main components. They got other things in there, but those are the 3 main. So hydrogen is the water. Oxygen is the air we breathe. Between the ages of 30 and 70, we're going to lose 50% lung capacity automatically. So if we exercise, move around, and get more oxygen, is better. Y'all can't tell me I'm not Janet Jackson when I get in the car with the windows up. Okay. I'm singing because I'm building up the lungs. Okay. So water is 83% of your blood. And no, Kool-Aid, tea, soda, any drink, flavored waters does not count as water. It does not count. Okay. As a matter of fact, to do the correct way, half your body's weight in ounces is what you're drinking because you're supporting that frame. If you want to drink 8 ounces of tea, you need to add on 8 more ounces of water to flush the tea. That's how it's really supposed to be done. Okay. So look at the stress, trauma, and the medical part. So the stress part is so much. It's a lot. Stress can literally kill you. Literally. So you have to tell the people when you're stressing, you're going to raise your cortisol level. That cortisol level controls so much. It's the primary, one of the primary, not blood, but one of the primary, hormones for the body. I'm sorry. One of the primary hormones for the body. And it's going to cause a lot of havoc within the endocrine system. So you have to cut down on the stress. If it's not, if it's your job, look for another one. It's a lot of jobs out here. People didn't want to work after COVID anyway. So there's some openings. And if it's something in your house, you got to get rid of it. That's how I feel. I really feel like that. We want you to know that cortisol can alter your whole immune system, the whole thing. It will cause anxiety, depression. It will cause dementia. Oh my God, it's so much. Headaches, heart disease, diabetes. It can actually stop your bowels from moving. If your bowels don't move, your liver's backed up. If your liver back up and your liver died, you die. It's just that bad. So you have to get the stress out. I've known a lady that was in the hospital with stress, just from stress. Okay. So we got over 300 medications. Mind you, this was in 2008 when I went to pharmacy tech. I did a podcast and someone asked me, do I see hair loss getting better? And I said, no, because in 2008, we had over 300 medications known to take the hair out. How many new medications do we have now? We don't even watch TV anymore. We watch medication commercials. Okay. That's what's on the TV the most. Okay. So we see it getting worse because of the medication. You can say your eyelash hurt. They got something for that. Okay. So we got to really watch that. Of course, the trauma from the job, death, family members, all of that. But look at the hormone aspect. Irregular cycles, fibroid, polycystic ovarian syndrome, menopause for women, andropause for men, because men do go through. They try to act like they don't, but they do. Childbirth, birth control, and hormone replacement therapy. You see, that's one. Only difference is in the younger people with birth control, they do not check the hormone balance. In the older people, they check the hormone balance. That's why we see the girls now that look like grown women, because they're just giving birth control. And I actually asked the GYN that question. And the genetic predisposition is the biggest factor. We have a question.
Prior. Childbirth. I was looking at, I didn't know childbirth had something to do with I knew it had something to do with hormones, but postpartum.
Okay, so you're asking about the childbirth. What is it? So
after you have the child,
when the child is born, your hormones are going back to where they used to be, and you're going to drop a lot of hair.
I'm asking for somebody else because she going through postpartum real bad.
She didn't come?
She's not a stylist.
You caught that right, Shirley. You caught that. Okay.
She's not a stylist, but
okay.
Her hormones all over the place. She crazy.
Yeah, it will. Your hormones are moving. It does. It causes the hair loss. It's telogen effluvium, and it usually comes back after the hormones start moving back. But your hormones has 1,000% to do with your mental state. At before and after menopause, everything. Okay, it has so much to do with it. So look at medical health and medication. You all see that? Pills and surgery. Look at that lifestyle change. Just get up and exercise. We're becoming this. This is terrible. Okay, so if you take a high blood pressure medicine, hypertension, right? Let's say it's Avandia, it will deplete your B12. It depletes your CoQ10, which will cause a weak heart, hair loss, and a heart attack. You see how that works? So anytime they take medication, it's going to deplete a nutrient. So let them know that if you're taking medication, it's going to deplete a nutrient. You might need to go get some lab work done or something. When I ask them for a consultation, I do ask them to bring in lab work. Yes, sir. We have a question.
Yes, Ms. Karen, I got about 5 questions for you. First question is it better to moisturize your hair at night?
No, that has no bearings on it. Moisturizing your hair is going to come from your sebaceous glands pumping sebum yourself, your own natural oils, right? Okay, so if you're low on your sebaceous oils, then you can moisturize your hair whenever you like. Your cuticles, especially after a shampoo, because your cuticles are wide open.
All right, next question. Does light sources help with hair growth?
There's light sources, yes, and we will get into that.
All right, next question is what shampoos are best to recommend for men experiencing white flaking?
What shampoos are best for white flaking? And we're going to get into that one too. Okay, because there's different white flakes, right? You all know, you haven't been to class. We have 3 different white flakes. Okay?
And so last one, Ms. Can hypertension affect hair growth?
I'm sorry?
Can hypertension affect hair growth?
Can hypertension? Yes. High blood pressure does affect hair growth. The blood is being blocked, so it's not flowing like it's supposed to flow. And we know that hair grows from what? Blood. So if it's not flowing, it's going to cause a lot of hair loss, especially the medication. Okay? Hormone replacement therapy will deplete vitamin C, zinc, iodine, magnesium, all that causes hair loss. You see how this works? So looking at the medications, you're going to definitely let your client know that you're on a lot of medication, you're going to have a lot of hair loss. So here's what I do in my practice. I love, even at the dermatologist's office, I used Influance. Because once I got into the makeup of the product, I'm realizing, okay, this can help me with this and this can help me with that. Knowing that when I was in the dermatologist's office, the only thing we had was ketoconazole, fluocinamide, clobetasol for people who had dandruff, right? We didn't have anything for CCCA, any type of alopecia. We didn't have anything. They had finasteride and stuff that would cause birth defects. I wasn't going to use that because I wasn't going to be held responsible. Okay, you never know the adverse reaction until after they've used it. So when I saw the CCCA and so many other ones could use a lot of stimulation, a lot of anti-inflammatory, I asked Mr. Rudy, could we get something that was like that? And Rosemary was birthed. And I am in love. Okay, so the new products are making me crazy because it's a whole lot of stuff. I got too excited. Okay, so let's move on. Also using the organic system. I use the it's natural coconut milk, the honey almond, and the luxury line, sea moss. Sea moss is the luxury line. Yeah. And I just tell my clients right off the bat, this is the luxury line. So let you know now what the price going to be. Come on, let's get it on. Okay, so we also do steaming because steaming, of course, is going to push that product deeper into the cuticle layer of the hair. It's also going to help with the breakage by keeping it moist. Porosity, there's another way that we're putting water in there. The growth, the dandruff, by keeping the scalp hydrated. The hang time, because it helps detangle. I notice when I don't steam, the detangling is a little bit more, just a little more, but I noticed it. And it's easier flat ironing. So we have, what I love about our steamer is once we put that steamer on, then we can, if I put a product onto the scalp, like I want to put the scalp and skin antiseptic on and steam it about 5 minutes. I can just lift the lid and then add in the deep cleanser I want to use right with it, so I don't have to take a reminder. I also use the light laser therapy for hair growth. Okay, this is the largest stimulation that we have out here. You sit under the laser, you feel nothing, but it is the biggest stimulation out here. When this first came out, one of the well-known dermatologists was using it. It was $500 a sitting, and we didn't even know about it then. Okay, the common forms of scalp disorder, androgenetic alopecia, central centrifugal cicatricial alopecia, CCCA, also known as scarring. It's called scarring because if it's inflamed and it heals in a scar. Discoid lupus erythematosus, alopecia areata, trichorexis nodosa, traction alopecia, frontal fibrosing alopecia, acne keloidal dysnucleus, and seborrheic dermatitis. These are some of the main ones that we see in the salon. These are the main. There are so many more, but these are the main ones that we see. Okay, so look at androgenetic and look at CCCA. They look alike, don't they? CCCA has inflammation. Name things according to who found it. That's really what I think. You know, they make it very hard. Like, I asked a question in a trichology conference, what's the difference in CCCA and lichen planopilaris? lichen plano, they always associated with Caucasian and CCCA African American. And the guy says, that's basically it. It's the same symptoms, everything. So whoever found it, you had a question, Miss Joy?
Where does the information come from?
Good question. Oh, I love that. Love, because that was my question. Wait. Okay, androgenetic alopecia before and after. We're going to get to this one first. Okay, so here's the before and after. Even as detrimental as that is, look how it started closing up. Okay, so product using. Now, she got real happy, went into the Dominicans and they blew it out her hair. You cannot go and do something when you're growing it out. The best thing to do is to let it flow. That's the best, okay? You had a question?
The lighter and the cold later, would that be the same like the high frequency one? You got the okay, brother.
I've never used the high frequency wand. Okay. I never used that before, but I would think, and it depends on the diodes in the wand. So you have to, I actually researched and talked to the people of the laser about how many diodes was in it, all of that before I bought it. So that's something you have to, yeah. Okay. Androgenetic alopecia. And her reason was, the first one was hormonal imbalance. The second one, this one here, is hormonal, but it's thyroid. So each one, you see how each one is different. So that's why we have to go to the internal, but the external, I use Influence products to grow this hair back. From June to October, you see how our hair came back in. That's the front on the top and that's the middle on the bottom. Okay. So what do y'all think I used up there? You've been in my class before. Rosemary. Yes. Woo. Yes. Rosemary. That's it. Okay. So let's look at that. So androgenetic alopecia, and my words got kind of moved a little bit here, but as androgenetic alopecia is usually caused by dihydrotestosterone, DHT, right? So I use the rosemary stimulating spray, rosemary carbon shampoo, right on top of the spray with the applicator brush. And then I steamed it. Which one? The rosemary stimulating spray? Rosemary carbon. I'm reading off the thing. It's right there. Rosemary carbon shampoo. I put it right on top of the spray and I steamed it. So the action of the rosemary spray stimulation is going to bring a lot of blood flow, right? The carbon shampoo has DHT blockers in it. Amazing. So between the two, tag teaming, I got the perfect combination. I used to use the rosemary stimulating spray and the deep cleanser. The deep cleanser was going to be my detoxer. Well, the carbon shampoo, carbon is activated charcoal. That's my detoxer now. So now I don't even have to. I can just stay within a stimulation to actually detox that hair while I'm stimulating it at the same time. Because you can spray that spray on and rinse and you still feel it. If you spray on your hand, you'll still feel it. You feel all cool and everything, you know. So it has avocado and sea moss extract in that rosemary carbon shampoo also. Okay, the white willow bark is the exfoliator for it. Love that because we're not using salt and sugar scrubs. We're actually using something already man-made, God-made, that is a willow bark. We have a question? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I had a question.
Okay, but I had a couple of clients that I actually had to stop using it for. I don't know if they were what I would call OSing, overspraying at home. And it seemed to have dried them out too much.
Okay, so what happens when you're using the spray? If they're drying, they need something a little more moist. So the rosemary drops now is available with CBD. Tell them don't sniff it, just put it on the scalp. Okay, but that's available. And you also have the rosemary stimulating scalp therapy. So once they spray the spray, give it a few seconds, let it dry, and then put that up there. Yes.
Okay, Miss Karen. I do have a good 60% of my clients are like that, right? And a lot of them, I have a hard time because they want to cover it up with weaves and braids and stuff. And I know that don't help, but I also know they don't want to walk around
that, right?
With their hair because most of the time they do not want to cut it.
Right.
So what is your recommendation as far as styles and stuff while you're trying to treat the hair versus, covering up with the weave?
Okay, so a person like this, they have no choice but to cover it up. And I understand that, but you have to protect the hair. Okay, so there's a soft band that they can put around for the hairline to be protected. And they also have to put the cap on top of that so that the wig cap is not rubbing on the scalp or the skin. That's the biggest thing. And then they can take it off and still spray at night, do what they need to do. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I took the class when we did the Influance week seminar thing. So I've been using this system, but I noticed that my client started to get flakage.
Okay, so your client, it started after they, so that means that it activated seborrheic dermatitis. We're getting on it. That's coming up, right? So we got a whole treatment for seborrheic dermatitis. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay, Miss Karen, I need you to remind me because I know we talked one time before, but I've had clients that when I use the rosemary, it overreacted their sebaceous glands. So can you remind me, because I cannot remember, because I stopped for a while on those certain clients.
Yeah.
But I couldn't remember who, because everybody is not a candidate of that.
Right.
So can you remind me of who is not a candidate of that and what I need to look for going into using the newer line?
Yeah. So that's the same question she had. So we want to know, what can you use when a person has seborrheic dermatitis? And believe it or not, 8 out of 10 people with seborrheic dermatitis is going to have CCCA. That's a precursor. Okay. So we have something for that. Okay. So, everybody get a picture of that, how to do that treatment. We're trying to move on with time. So we have the DHT. You see the little purple at the bottom of the hair strand, and it's getting bigger and the hair is getting smaller. DHT is dihydrotestosterone, which is shorter for DHT. We have DHT blockers in that carbon shampoo. We got pumpkin seed, reishi mushroom, clover flower, and I didn't know this one, and I love the fact that this was in there. Sereno cerulata fruit extract. All inhibits the activity of 5-alpha reductant enzyme, which converts that testosterone to dihydrotestosterone. So when progesterone drops, 5-alpha reductant enzyme and testosterone combine. When they combine, it's going to cause DHT. We want to block DHT. Okay. That's the biggest thing. So we have those DHT blockers in our rosemary carbon shampoo. Okay. So CCCA, this is the one, inflammation. So how would you think you would get inflammation in the body? And look how this girl's hair went from June to February. And this is my second time growing her hair back, as a matter of fact. Second time. She went away for a year, moved back here, and came back with that spot. And I thought it was a goner, but I used the rosemary to take the inflammation down because our spray has that anti-inflammatories, and I used the rosemary shampoo. Believe it or not, she didn't do any treatment. I just did shampoo, condition, spray, and style, and her hair came back in. So what would you think would cause inflammation in the body? The diet. That's it, 100%. It didn't jump out the air. It's something that you did, right? You know how many people, the lady told me that the high blood pressure just jumped on. Okay, so here's CCCA. This is the one that was on the first picture. That's her after. That was, I can't see it, September 23rd to September, 1 year to grow it back in. But she did the work on the internal, and I did the work on the external. She came as often as every 2 weeks to get a treatment, but she wasn't doing a cold laser to add into that also. But when she started the cold laser, it started working faster. Just started working faster. Okay. So healthy hair, that's what an inflamed follicle look like. So most of the time they'll say they have some deep down itching. That's that inflammation coming up. Okay. So, the inflammation rises up to the top. That zinc gluconate always help with this. I've always had this on my PowerPoint because it takes down inflammation. We have that in our KSS clarifying shampoo. Okay, here is my patient at the dermatologist's office. There's a beautiful open follicle, look like a little tornado. And then the other picture, inflamed follicle, is actually swollen. They're going to lose that hair if they don't get the inflammation down. The rosemary spray gets the inflammation down instantly. The CBD serum is going to keep it down, help keep it down. And then they're going to have to figure out what they're doing to keep it coming. Yes, ma'am.
So when they have the inflammation on the scalp and the scar, is it something that you can?
Oh, she's saying that when they have inflammation on the scalp and scarring, is it something that you can see with your eye? I'm gonna let you see it, okay? Because that one I showed you was, of course, the scope, but I'm gonna let you see it. So here is the rosemary growth serum with the CBD and the rosemary stimulating spray. Look at all the properties in there. With the growth serum, I couldn't list all the properties. It was too many. It was amazing. I loved it. Loved every bit of it. It even has hyaluronic acid. I use that on my face. I'm sorry. Oh, yes. I call it the breath of God. Of course, the opera singing is ushering it in. Willow bark, pumpkin seed, reishi mushroom. CBD oil has a very high concentration of vitamin E in it. Vitamin E is great for your capillaries, which is going to have blood flow, which is going to definitely promote hair growth stronger and a little faster. We have a question, sir.
All right, Ms. Karen, I got quite a few questions here for you. First question is, would you charge extra for the rosemary charcoal shampoo and conditioner?
If I'm doing a treatment, I always charge extra. Not just for regular shampooing, I don't.
All right, next question. Can traction alopecia be reversed?
Can traction alopecia be reversed? Some people it can and some it can't. It depends on how long, because traction is actually scarring.
All right, next question. Would you recommend the rosemary carbon to be sold as a retail product to your clients?
Definitely. Ooh, yes. Yeah. Yes, I would definitely want them to retail that, because it's a relationship. When you have something going, you want them to take it home and keep it going. Because if they come back messed up, you got to start all over again. Most people don't want to pay for a treatment.
All right, next question. Are rosemary products as effective under the dryer as well?
Rosemary is effective under the dryer. Yes. When you're doing a steam, if you don't have a steamer, you're going to wet the hair and do your rosemary treatment. The wet hair and the bag, once you bag it, is going to cause steam.
And last question. With the rosemary line, which products are sulfate free?
The new carbon shampoo is sulfate free. So our new carbon rosemary line is sulfate free. Now, if you feel like a person has a whole lot on their hair, like that Black Warrior castor oil stuff, use the other rosemary, because it's going to take it off. The difference in a sulfate and non-sulfate is a deeper cleanse. That's the difference. Okay. So, okay, where were we? You see all the properties in there. We went over some of them, the rosemary, mint, the menthol, the lemongrass is a follicle strengthener by itself. Okay. It's just amazing. I love everything. Saw palmetto berry is the #1 DHT blocker. #1. They actually had a commercial saying stronger than saw palmetto berry. It was for men prostate. They target saw palmetto because it's the strongest. It is the #1. I don't know how they think they got something stronger than God. That was just a lie. You know, I'd be scared if I was them. Okay, so here's CCCA, alopecia, inflammation, and hormones. Now, there you are with the naked eye. See that hair at the top? That's her. See, you can see the inflammation. Red, and it was built up. It was really bad. She did not have seborrheic dermatitis, so I could go in with our rosemary line to actually get that down. Okay, so when I use the sea moss, we're going to use some sea moss of this would also, because sea moss is a detoxer of the ocean. Sea moss is a clarifier all by itself. So now we have the sea moss shampoo, which is going to detox, but it's going to impart moisture at the same time. It's just like color. I was like, this reminds me of color. It's going to remove and deposit at the same time. It was amazing. I loved it. So the sea moss is going to be my second shampoo when I start switching over with this. Okay. Of course, we're going to use the growth serum and the moisture lock to the scalp, or the growth cream, because people with CCCA sometimes have a very tight, dry scalp. And we got to moisture that scalp. We're thinking about your leg without lotion. You got to put some moisture on it. Oils are not moisturists. Creams are moisturizers. Okay. Rose water spray to the hair because that rose water is very hydrating. When you have a person with CCCA, they're always feeling hard and brittle. So that rose water is going to give you a lot of hydration to it, which is why some people say, I spray the rose water and I feel it. You spray too much. But when I'm doing this, I'm going to spray enough to feel that. I want to feel it because I want that hair to be moisturized because I'm ready to put it under. Okay. They're either going to go into some type of light goddess braid. They're going to go under the wig, something. And I want to make sure it stays moisture under there. Discoid lupus erythematosus, alopecia areata. Look at those. They look alike, right? Discoid lupus is inflammation with the alopecia areata. That's what it's like. Just like inflammation. So a lot of times with discoid lupus, we have people who have, as you can see, a bad grooming habit will pop this up, and discoid and alopecia. But sometimes it's just stress. It's just stress. Okay, so here we go. Discoid lupus, chronic autoimmune disease where the immune system attacks the skin. So that means your immune system is revved up. Something's going on in the body. Your immune system doesn't rev up by itself. Coconut milk and the coconut milk conditioner, both of those has a lot of vitamin C, vitamins E, vitamin B, all in there that helps with skin. That helps with skin. It also has iron, selenium, sodium, magnesium, all these different things, all those different minerals and vitamin properties are in coconut milk. Okay? Oh, I thought that question. Yes, ma'am.
Do you want them that they actually taste like wigging or do you?
Remember, this is an influence seminar. We don't go inside. We can't say that because somebody will say, she said take 500. I didn't say that. I don't know what they heard, right? So I'm not going to say that. Because the natural fatty acids in coconut milk help to treat dry and irritated skin and remove harmful bacteria. That's natural in coconut milk. You had a question, ma'am?
Great. Reason everyone on trying that by after churches in general. You may have to know both and special using the two or use the argument on every song.
That could be your choice. That's how you would tailor it to your salon. So if I had somebody come in and they've been using something heavy because they thought that could grow their hair, I'm going to use the original rosemary just to get it off. Then with the carbon shampoo, I'm going to use that on definitely for, the rest of it.
But water in the steamer, does it matter?
Yes, our steamer says to use the purified water. And if it says use it. Use that kind, please. Because if it mess up, don't call us. You used the wrong one. We're not going to give you another one. Okay? I'm just telling you the truth. Okay? Okay? We know. We can tell what you've been using. If you use Chesapeake or Virginia Beach or the other one, it's going to definitely clog it up because it has too much in there. Alopecia areata, the autoimmune system attacks the follicles, causing hair loss. See that? So take a picture of that. We got to move on. This is how we're going to treat it. Everybody get it? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, somebody send it to somebody. Okay, there's the rosemary system and coconut milk with alopecia areata before and after. This is 6 months with her, and her hair came back in. Alopecia areata is autoimmune, so it can come back. Okay, it will come back. Alopecia areata and CCCA. So the picture to your left, alopecia areata circle, and then the other picture with the parting, you see the CCCA. So both of them started closing up with treating the scalp with the rosemary system and the lasers. So traction alopecia. Okay, here we go. Traction is too much tension, pulling and rubbing. Look how thick her hair is. She's 24. She was wearing protective styling. Okay, sew in. And it pulled her hair out in the temple because she kept wearing it. You can't go natural just to put your hair under all the time. You might as well keep it relaxing. Okay, because you do more damage if you keep it under all the time and always doing different tensions to it. Her hair, all her hair would grow back. She had steroid injections and it would not grow back after that. Okay, and look how thick it is. She's 24. So I asked her, is androgenetic in your family? Because you start losing hair in the temples and then the middle, and it is in her family. So she kicked it off early. That's what that is. Okay, traction alopecia and frontal fibrosis are different. Very different. And I wanted to put this up here because I saw a post that disturbed me. Right here, it says it was posted by someone. I had to take their name off, but they said lace brush damage is affecting millions of African American women worldwide, and incorrect application, improper maintenance, excessive wear is the root cause of whatever. Edge be going being funny. But at the bottom, he said, when was stylists realize? That is not a stylist issue. That is medical. 100. That has nothing to do with the lace front. I have people who have that who never wore a wig. Okay. That's medical. So there's a difference in, as you can see, the frontal fibrosis alopecia they have is clean. It's just clean. And they have usually their eyebrows are starting to go or they're gone. But with traction alopecia, you see little hairs there, right? That, that she still got strings and stuff. Okay. So let's look at this. Look at the little hairs I got to grow back. When I sent this picture to Dr. Johnson, who I work for a dermatologist's office, he said, how did you get that to go? Because they've done steroid injections, everything, and it's hard to get that to grow back. I used our deep cleanser because I thought the etiology of the disorder, I'm going to follow that and back it up. And that's what I did and came out with a deep cleanser. And there it was. Her hair grew in. So he was really impressed with that. I was too. I was shocked. So again, that's internal. I had to tell her what to do on the internal while I worked the external. But that deep cleanser removed it. So now I have I'm going to use the sea moss because the sea moss also is going to detoxify the area that I needed done. Okay. Trichorexis nodosa with CCCA. So we saw CCCA in the beginning. Trichorexis nodosa looks like CCCA, but you have to know which one it really is. And in talking a consultation, that always tells you. Okay. Trichorexis nodosa is the hair breakage in certain areas. And we've seen this before. We've all seen this, right? There you go. So that Trichorexis nodosa is coming from internal. That's internal. And people are saying in a minute, you left relaxing my hair. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. That's internal. Okay. You got to use a deep cleansing shampoo. You can use the sea moss shampoo. You can use the new deep cleanser to detox that hair. They have to detox the blood. Okay. Cause the blood's feeding the hair. Okay. And we know that acne keloidis nutria, a lot of gentlemen have that. That's inflammatory. Again, inflammatory. What you're eating is going to cause that inflammation. All you got to do is nick the skin and then eat something wrong. The inflammatory process is going to pop up. So here we go with the dandruff. We got the regular dandruff, dry, itchy flakes, the little small ones. Then you have psoriasis, which is more silver, large, and seborrheic dermatitis can be yellow and it smells sometimes. Seborrheic can have a smell to it. Okay. So with the process of psoriasis and seborrheic dermatitis, there is cavernarization or the isomorphic phenomena. What those two are saying that if you scratch it, you're going to make it activate more. You're not supposed to scratch it. And if you scratch it, one of the girls, stylists sent me a picture with hair just hanging in it. It was just coming out with hair in it. And it was a lot. Okay. So here's how you're supposed, and here's another reason you don't scratch it. When this is my, patient at the dermatologist's office with the blood under there because it's a sore. It's overactive sebaceous glands pumping up skin. So it's not dry. People think it's dry. I've had someone that said my scalp is dry, but my hair is oily. Well, we know that's not possible. Right? So it was the fact that her scalp was oily. Just she saw flakes. They automatically think flakes are dry. It's not. Some of those flakes are very oily. So it's overactive sebaceous glands with inflammation underneath. So sebaceous glands are pumping like this, regular. When you put on seborrheic dermatitis, it's pumping faster. When you put rosemary, it loses its mind. Because it's active, it's stimulating it so much. So rosemary is so good for stimulation of bringing blood flow. It stimulates the sebaceous oils. So we're not going to put rosemary up there. And this young lady she put this on Facebook during COVID and said, I'm not going to get my nails done because we're on lockdown. What is this under my nails? Can somebody tell me? That's a fungus. So as soon as you put that fungus in a person's scalp with seborrheic dermatitis, it's going to get worse. That's why with seborrheic dermatitis, do not scratch it. Okay? You had a question?
Yes. Question is it fair to tell a client no more braids and weaves if they have CCCA or any form of alopecia?
Is it fair to tell them no more braids or weave with CCCA? Yes, it's fair. 100%. Yes, because it's something that's going to pull. Okay.
And next question is, what is a good follow-up regimen to recommend a new client when wanting to correct damaged hair?
What's a good follow-up recommendation when a client wants to correct damaged hair? Styling, I'm thinking that you're talking about styling for damaged hair. You can go into a lot of style depending on the damage. We don't know the damage actually, so you're going to make that call. You know what's best for them, and you have to explain that to them, what's best for them to make that call. And there's so many different styles that you can do. But even with CCCA, if I'm circling out the spot, I can do some goddess braids on the outside and don't touch the inside. So you got a lot of different ways that you can actually do that. Okay, so seborrheic dermatitis, we're going to use the scalp and skin antiseptic. That's the biggest. Scalp and skin that's a well-known pharmaceutical antiseptic because it has eucalyptus in it. Eucalyptus is well known for that. Eucalyptus is a healer. So it's going to help heal that scab under there, the raw skin under there. We're going to steam that in, and then you can use the deep cleanser to remove everything you just lifted up. And then the organic shampoo afterwards. Organic has chamomile. Chamomile is an antifungal, antibacterial property. Sage is the cleanser in the organic. So that's perfect for seborrheic dermatitis. If you still see the seborrheic after you've shampooed and emulsified the hair, the scalp, take the towel and you can wipe it off. When you wipe it off, don't just wipe it off. Wipe it off and show them and let them know you're going to have to get this again because it's so built up on your scalp. Okay. And don't come back in a month. They got to come back in sooner. That, and I'm going to say this one thing, seborrheic dermatitis is a gut issue. Okay. Reasons for hair loss. We did all the pore, the hormonal, the medical. We look at the buildup. Reasons, the product buildup and the mechanical. Thick oils to the scalp, not enough moisture, dandruff, wig wearing, too much high heat, bad brushing, combs, all of those. That's out here. Split ends. So here, I've been doing it this way for years. Doesn't mean it's right. Everything is wrong about that relaxer that the young lady with the shower curtain in the back put up. Everything, even the shower curtain. But the relaxer, she's already got it smooth and she's way past the new growth. So you know she's going to start irritating before she even get to the front to apply. And she put this online like she was good. See, we can't stay off. Okay. So we know that we only want to touch up the new growth, right? For the touch-ups. Okay, so, and we definitely don't want to mess around and put a relaxer, first of all, on the front porch. Secondly, we don't want to comb it. So when you comb the relaxer, we're having a hard time with this one. Look at this. She had a chemical haircut, okay? And she's sitting there getting it. Yeah, so that's bad. So 3 reasons for relaxers breaking. People say, I don't get relaxers breaking my hair. No, it's not the relaxer, it's the operator. Can we agree on that? If we know how to put a relaxer in, it won't break. If a person has any type of issue going on with the hair and you put it in, that means you applied it wrong. Okay, so we got 3 reasons. Too long, too strong, or wrong. Those 3 reasons. Something fall under each one of those categories. And when your stylist mixture relaxer won't tell you what kind it is, just leave. We don't do that. I'm happy to tell someone I use the Influance relaxer. Okay, we are professionals. We know that. They can't go buy it. Okay, so here is somebody asked about the hair and feeling fuller. So I did it with the relaxer. You see that? She came to me 6 months time. I'm behind her holding it up. It's 6 months time. That's my relaxer at the bottom. She came in with the strings. See there? That's her in the beginning. So there she is. And I just changed up her timing and the strength. Everybody can't go and you can't do all regular relaxers unless you have all regular clients, right? We can't do all super unless you got all super clients. So this is after 9 months, it's growing in the middle section, those 2 middle pictures. That's 9 months. And there she is from 2015 to 2021. So she didn't want to stop her relaxers. And I didn't stop her relaxer. This is where I did the Proplex Reconstructor, where I told you I had to make up what I'm going to do. So she came every 2 weeks. I did a Proplex 3 times in a row to stop this hair from doing that. First 2 weeks, next 2 weeks, next 2 weeks, and then I stopped. We waited 2 weeks after that, and we started her relaxer. Never cut her hair. As y'all can see, I never cut it, so that she didn't want it cut. So that I could hold the hair on, I made the call to do that Proplex as I needed. Okay? Mechanical damage, we have the excessive heat. Stop leaving people on the dry so you can go eat. If you know you know what? If they're dry, they dry, y'all. Just let them sit there a minute. Don't dry out the scalp and the hair. It tears them up. It messes them up. And then they leave and they go talk about to the next stylist. Come on now. Okay? So, split ends. Please trim split ends. Lord have mercy. Look, this is a split end with a split end. Y'all see that? That's actually a client. I took my scope and followed it and took a picture of the split end with the split end. Okay? Yes, sir. We got a question.
All right, Ms. Karen. Question is, can dandruff be from an allergic reaction to foods or products?
Can dandruff be from allergic reaction? It's not dandruff if it is flaked. It means that it is an allergic reaction. Dandruff is different. Okay. So if it's, a skin rash, a skin disorder, then that's what that is. So it's not necessarily dandruff.
All right. Next question. Is it true seborrheic dermatitis? With that, you should avoid steam treatments?
Oh, no. No. With seborrheic dermatitis, it's wonderful to do steam treatments. It softens the seborrheic and you can just literally wipe it off. If it's not steamed and you go to try to wipe it off, you can pull up scab. So you want to soften it first. Just think of a scab on your leg. We used to pick it when we were little and start bleeding. If it's soft when we were in the bathtub, it didn't do that. Same thing. I remember that. I don't know if I remember that. Okay.
Next question. What's the best way to lift dandruff without scratching?
What's the best way? Steaming it. Steaming it. So you can put the scalp and skin antiseptic on and then steam it. It's going to lift it up.
Next question. Should we charge clients that have seborrheic dermatitis?
If you are doing a treatment on a client with seborrheic dermatitis, yes. Unless you're just trying to get rid of them because they won't shampoo their hair when they come, hey, that's on you. But yes, definitely do a treatment on them. You can charge them.
All right. Next question. What's the best relaxer to recommend for clients that have severe seborrheic dermatitis?
Okay. The relaxer for seborrheic dermatitis is no relaxer. It's going to irritate the scalp more. Yeah. I actually had a client who wanted color and I told her you can't get color till you get your seborrheic under control. She already knew what it was. So she said, okay. And she got it under control and got her color. So once I told her what it was, and she decided, okay, I want to eat right. Okay. So please cut those split ends off. Those 3 strands of hair, and it's not going to miss it. Come on, cut those. Please cut them split ends. Explain to them what a split end does. It starts here and it splits downward, and that's why they don't see length. So when they say my hair doesn't grow, it is growing because you got new growth. You're just not seeing length because it's splitting upward. Yes, ma'am. Question. Oh, I'm sorry, Rod. Hold on. I'm sorry. Okay. So here's color without maintenance. In the beginning, she came to me like this. She sent me the picture because she was so happy with how her hair looked. I didn't even remember her looking like this, but she sent it to me. I didn't stop her color. I just started trimming her ends because her ends weren't trimmed. And I gave her a Proplex Reconstructor. When you have color, you need to do the Proplex. So there she is with her hair grown in. And that's me, Karen Brace, cosmetologist instructor, all those other things. And I am an influencer. I got through that, didn't I? I got 10 minutes of questions. Yes! Woo-hoo-hoo!
Yeah. We'll do the next one.
Okay. We're going to take some audience questions in case online don't hear. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, when they have the is it the
I can hardly hear you. I'm sorry.
Yes, what is it again? Seborrheic dermatitis. And you say to use the rosemary and things of that nature, and if they want a like silk press, what shampoos do you suggest to follow up with after you use those?
Okay, your question was if they have seborrheic dermatitis, what shampoo to use?
The cleansing of the scalp and things like that. And if they want a silk press, what other shampoos, or should you use other shampoos to follow up so that they can get a silk press?
Are you speaking of follow up like the next appointment or right then?
No, right then. Like after you use
gotcha.
that, should you use additional shampoos?
Gotcha. So she's saying with the seborrheic dermatitis, we're going to do a treatment on her. We're going to use the scalp and skin antiseptic, and we're going to use the deep cleansing shampoo. We're going to rinse it off. The next shampoo is going to be, according to the person's hair, what shampoo you pick and the conditioner you pick. Yeah, so you can, so if you want to use the sea moss, you can use the sea moss. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Miss Karen, this might be a little controversial, but you and I have talked. So, for the new shampoos that are coming out, right? For the clients that I've sent to you, and that I continue to see that they started losing hair after they got their COVID shot.
Oh.
Can you suggest the type of, even though I know it's an internal issue and we talked about detoxing,
Right.
in the meantime, for me to work on the outside,
Yes.
can you tell me what type of shampoos to use and how to combat that?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. She wants to know what shampoo to use for a person who has taken the COVID vaccine, and she knows that it's internal, but what can she do on the external? And Juanita sends me so many clients, and I send them right back to her. So what we're going to do, like you said, it's the internal. They got to work the internal, like you said. But in the meantime, we're thinking about what can I do to hold on to this hair that she had. So the rosemary is going to stimulate the most growth. That's the one to stimulate the most growth. You can also do a Proplex reconstructor to put in more of the protein, more of that amino acid in there to try to strengthen that hair more. That's a great question. Yes.
Hello, I just got a quick question. I'm not sure, it might be, they say it's no dumb question, but when it comes to just dandruff and then the seborrheic, if I'm saying it right, SD, safe, but I know, of course not rosemary for the SD. Can you kind of help me understand what's really, I know there's a difference, but rosemary helps regular dandruff and hurt SD?
Great question. Does rosemary help regular dandruff, and does it harm the seborrheic dermatitis? You are absolutely correct. So the rosemary for regular dandruff, it controls the itching, it controls the flakes, it balances the sebum. So the sebum is going to be the oils that's going to combat the dryness of a regular dandruff. So your own skin, even your skin itself, is going to balance that oil production. But with the seborrheic dermatitis, because seborrheic sebum is pumping too much, yes, then the rosemary going to make it pump even more, right? So we have to, then we work the internal and we're going to clean it with the scalp and skin.
How often would you recommend like shampooing the hair, like, or them to come in between, like 2 weeks or like a week?
How often to recommend shampooing the hair for what?
If they have like androgenetic alopecia.
Androgenetic, okay, for the treatment of androgenetic alopecia, how often to shampoo it? Weekly is the best. It's totally the best. But some people do 2 weeks. I have some people that do 3 weeks. You got some people that just stagger. They just come in. You just go ahead and do it. But definitely 1 week is the best because you're jumping on all that stimulation on a regular basis. And the cold laser actually tells you to do once a week.
No, right. No. I got one question. Yes. Okay, so with these seborrheic dermatitis, we will also recommend 1 week for them to come in regularly as a routine. And for the cold laser, we can use that with our Influence steamer, or is that something we need to send them to a trichologist for?
That was a good question, Joy. I'm so glad you said that. With the seborrheic dermatitis, she said once a week, yes. because it definitely depends on that person's gut health and what they want to do. Shampooing it once a week, yes. And with the cold laser, it is a trichologist thing. If you use the cold laser incorrectly, and the diodes in our steamer is not the same as a cold laser, but if you use it incorrectly, you can take the hair out. It can actually take the hair out. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and hopefully this is not controversial. I am a natural hair care provider. I have a lot of clients that come in and they start off with alopecia, different things like that, lots of breakage. I actually offer protective styling, real protective styling, because everything you say protective is not.
Right.
But where I'm able to get the client's hair growing back, treating it, and all those great things so that they don't have to see this process. For a lot of clients, you said stress. Stress, of course, we know do all those bad things. So when we can, and you set a great example of getting some braids out around that area and different things like that. But when we can do protective styling that is helpful for them through that process and show growth, they can still get that done with the treatments. So I wanted to just kind of say that all protective styling and different things like that.
Yeah, this must be my first time in my class. Okay, so yeah, all protective styling is not bad. When you keep a style in longer than it should be, that's past overprotective. You done it. You done the deal. It's past protection. Yeah, you're doing damage styling now, and it's lazy styling. Okay. Because I myself do some goddess braids, but they keep it 2 weeks. And I've grown a lot of hair with goddess braids with the hair loss.
And that is on this rather trust and you still on that. Yeah. Karen, I do not have the steaming, but you said something about the cold laser within it. That's within the steamer as well. I've used different things, but that's something that I haven't used yet. So
our red light in our steamer, she's speaking of the steamer and the difference. The red light in our steamer is going to be good for penetration. Okay. The blue light is good for bacteria, for killing bacteria. So it's really good when you're doing seborrheic dermatitis.
You good?
The blue light.
Sure.
The stimulation is for penetration. I'm sorry, for penetration. Bacteria. It kills bacteria. You're welcome.
Okay. Well, it said my night out, so you guys can see her after the class. You got a few more in line.
A question about the shampoos. So, because I just actually heard about the carbon rosemary. I was always taught on like the regular rosemary line, but I never heard about the carbon one.
Oh,
but it sounded like. So are you saying is the carbon one? Is it like I know it helps with the different alopecias, but is it like other than needing a better cleanse? Is it different, or could we just use a deep cleanse and the carbon one if you still want like a deeper cleanse, or
So, I'm sorry. You're saying, is the rosemary carbon shampoo different from the regular rosemary shampoo?
Yes, other than the cleansing part, like
other
the
than
sulfate.
The cleansing. Yes, yeah. It is different. It has more of the DHT blockers in it. And the rosemary carbon shampoo.
But it
has a lot more DHT blockers. Plus, the carbon itself is a larger detoxer because it's activated charcoal. So that's even more of a detoxer.
All right, Miss Karen. So we got a couple more questions here from the audience. First question is, how long in between relaxers should they do the protein treatment?
How long between? So when you get a protein treatment, you wait 2 weeks and you can get a relaxer, or you can get a relaxer and wait 2 weeks and get a protein. Okay. And then you do it every 6 weeks. So don't do it before 2 weeks.
Next question is, what types of hair loss or scalp conditions should you avoid steaming?
There are no hair loss or scalp conditions. Avoid steaming. I haven't had any. Steaming always works good with it because it keeps it moisture. Keeps the moisture in.
All right, next question. Can you mix the growth serum and the growth cream?
Yes, definitely. Can you mix growth serum and growth cream? Yes, you can. That growth cream has tea tree oil, avocado oil, grapeseed oil, which is good for antioxidation, circulation, and bacteria. So then the growth serum is going to have all those properties we saw in there. That's like you tag team and you beating the mess out of a scalp disorder. So yes.
All right. And last question, because the audience wants to know, what's the best shampoo conditioner to use for psoriasis, seborrheic dermatitis, as well as cancer?
Okay, so for cancer, you can just use a stimulation unless they have some other type of scalp disorder on their scalp. I used to teach a cancer class. The rosemary feels so good on the cancer patients because sometimes their scalp is sore. And that rosemary will take down the inflammation and it's going to bring blood flow and start their hair growth back. Seborrheic dermatitis and psoriasis is going to be the scalp and skin antiseptic, the deep cleanser, or the sea moss shampoo. No rosemary. No rosemary on seborrheic or psoriasis. Okay.
And that was the end of the questions, but a ton of the audience members did share that you did a phenomenal job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I hope to see y'all soon. Thank you.
All right, and Mr. Artist just had a few more things to share.
Thank you, Mr. Rudy.
Thank you, Dr. Brace.
Thank you.
I know Dr. Brace shared so much as far as the steamer is concerned. We do have a few left, and the steamer is what I always tell our clients, that it's the gift that keeps giving. Mm-hmm. And so as we talk about the steamer can actually be your part-time job as well, because you charge for each one of those services. Karen,
yes.
how much do you charge for those services each time you put them on the steam, just for the steamer service itself?
They start at $55.
$55. And so for, that's when it's based off of Trichology, but as far as any other service where you charge $30 or up, depending on how you operate in your business. Nevertheless, I say it's a gift that keeps giving because it's the alternative to the dryer. The steamer is normally $6.99. We do have a few left, and we are doing those we're going to put those on for $5.49. That comes directly from the corporate headquarters, and it'll be shipped out directly to you. So that'll be one that you just simply have to call in and to order. And of course, it's just going to be first come, first serve. But as you will see, that can easily add on an additional, depending on how many customers you have. If you do it 10 customers and you charge them on average $40, that's an additional $400 a week that you do. But that also comes from the planning and preparation phase as far as who you're going to cater to and make sure that they have access to it. But once they know the benefits and advantages of it, then of course it's just it's a win-win for all parties. So just wanted to share that with you, and also thank you all for being online today. We greatly appreciate it. We don't take the love for granted, and as we continue to serve you, and we just want to let you know that we're going to continue to stay salon exclusive and continue to educate and uphold our mission statement. Thank you guys for your time. Look forward to the next one, and we'll catch up soon. You all have a great day.